So what's the reason behind this gap? Why are there so many more white people here? This is the race piece, right? This is the race inequality piece that we're talking about all the time. If you and I could be flies on the wall and go back 60 years to people, we would pick out all the relatives who led to you. And we could pick out all the places where they made really bad decisions. It wasn't about something happened to them. Oh man, this person was doing really well, and then they got screwed over by whatever, right? The bank came in and stole their house from them or whatever. Guarantee we could find things where you're like, oh damn man, yeah, that's the point at which, like my grandfather really. And then you got to put responsibility on that person, right? You can make it further if you believe in it. You can go further than if you don't believe in it.
I feel like maybe we should be asking, like, well, they did get up there, and like, what opportunities were they presented with that others weren't in their same demographic? Dude,
okay, awesome. So like, look at the black people and the Latino people who are in these families up here. What makes them different? Like, what allowed them to get here?
And the question to me would be, why did it decrease? Because if you look in the end, there was a point where there was black, Latino, and others that were wealthy. Why did it decrease over time?
Nathan, let's start with you. Yeah.
Hello, my name's Nathan. I'm a freshman. I'm pursuing a mechanical engineering degree.
Where are you from?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. All right, awesome.
Hi, my name is Maggie. I'm a rehabilitation and human services major.
And where are you from?
A really small town. It's near Bedford, PA.
Hi, my name's Corin. I'm a senior at Penn State. I'm a film major and a Dart major. I'm from Uniontown, Pennsylvania.
You're in the National Guard or the Reserves or what?
I'm in the United States Marine Corps.
In the Marine Corps, yeah, that's right. You're doing your degree. Okay. This is just his breakup. So this is Asian Pacific Islanders, American Indians. So this is Native Americans, about 1%. Asian Pacific Islanders, Hispanic, black, and white. White's about 64%, okay? So this is important that you see this. All right, now, take a look here. There's a wealth gap in the US by race. So what we've got here is, this is the richest decile, the richest 10%. So this is this guy down here. And 89% of the people in this group, these families, these almost 13 million families, are white. All right? And then you have Latino, here you have black, and you have other. Okay? So here's black right there. And then here is Latino, and here's other, which includes mostly Asians. And then look at how, as you move down this way, these are 10%. So what happened was, I put 4 people in here, but one of the people that was in this group is this line right here, and then next to that person, this one, next to that person, this one, and next this decile. And then we move down here to these 5, till we get to the far end, the poorest 10% of people in the United States, then are 57% white. So what's the reason behind this gap? Why are there so many more white people here and fewer white people down here? And then I'm not even sure what happens right here. Well, I have an idea. But Nathan, how about you? How do you explain that? This is the race piece, right? This is the race inequality piece that we're talking about all the time. How do white people overpopulate this group here? Just what have you been told along the way? What has kind of sunk into you along the way? The explanations for that?
I mean, I would say the majority of the things that are said on like social media is that black people don't have the advantages that white people would have to access the money.
Okay, black people, black and brown, black people and Latino people, and in particular, because if you look at the far, way down here, the far right there, it's blacks and Latinos in particular, because they don't have access to money and What else?
What else does people say, or what else do I believe?
Well, what else do people say? Because that's one side. Remember how I started. Sociologists, we talk about things that happen to people. But there's the other side of what people themselves do, right? Like Maggie, for example, when your family was poor, I can guarantee that if you and I now went back and looked at your people, your ancestors, like your grandparents and stuff, if you and I could be flies on the wall and go back 60 years to people, we would pick out all the relatives who led to you, and we could pick out all the places where they made really bad decisions. It wasn't about something happened to them. Oh man, this person was doing really well, and then they got screwed over by whatever, right? The bank came in and stole their house from them or whatever. Guarantee we could find things where you're like, oh damn man, yeah, that's the point at which, like my grandfather really. And then you got to put responsibility on that person, right? So you talked about, okay, so you learn that black and people and brown people, Hispanic in particular, Native Americans, don't have access to things. Okay, so what else? What's another explanation?
Well, this is the route that most people don't go down, and that's that it comes down to, as Corin was saying, Corin, right? Yeah, Corin was saying, it comes down to people believing that they have the ability. It's like the American dream is, if you come to America and you work really hard, you can make it to the top. And whether that's the top 1%, maybe not, but you can make it really far.
How about this? I'm going to change what you just said there. Say it this way. You can make it further if you believe in it. You can go further than if you don't believe in it. Like if you turn in this direction to go up toward that person, you're going to go further than if you turn in this direction or this direction or this direction, or just cover your eyes and you just stay where you are. But not necessarily make it to the top, but you at least could make something. Okay, so if you put your mind to it, so then what happens how do you explain, I'm going to really put you on the hot seat again. What do you explain? Why are there so few black people and Hispanic people here, though? Did they just not put their minds to it?
I have no idea.
Well, some of them clearly didn't, right? That's not a racist thing to say, by the way. I know you're afraid of getting canceled here. I would not set you up to be canceled, bro. I would never do that.
Sure.
It's not a racist thing to say.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, some definitely didn't, just like in Maggie's family. Some people didn't. Some people in your family made really poor decisions because whatever, they did. There were some opportunities and they didn't take it. I don't know who, I don't know what, but I just mean,
The first thing that came to mind when you said, like, why aren't there more? Or what was your question? You worded it.
Yeah, why aren't there more? Why are there so many white people in the richest group up here?
Pertaining to like Latino, Black, or other.
Native American in particular. Go Latino, Black, Native American. We'll leave Asians out of it for a second.
So everyone that's not white up there, like, I feel like maybe we should be asking, like, well, they did get up there, and like, what opportunities were they presented with that others weren't in their same demographic?
Makes okay, awesome. So like, look at the Black people and the Latino people who are in these families up here. What makes them different? Like, what allowed them to get here? So Maggie's saying, like, yeah, you got to look at them. Like, what did they do? Like, what did they get? How did they make that? That's what we want to be thinking about that. Corin, how about you when you see so many Black and Latino people at the far end on the left? How do you, as a Black guy, right? How do you, as a Black guy who's in a conservative organization, right? How do you explain that? How do you make sense of that?
Well, I was looking at all of it, and the question to me would be, why did it decrease? Because if you look on the end, there was a point where there was Black, Latino, and others that were wealthy. Why did it decrease over time?
Yeah.
And it could go back to what he was saying, or was that you that said what was offered, what changed over time, what was presented to that group of people that caused it. So that's what I'm thinking, because I don't look at just the end. I look at the entire list, and we had 57%, and then the other Latino Black, there was actually more percentage of people that were wealthy, and over time it decreases.
Okay.
So that's how.
No, but this isn't time. This is
Right.
These are just deciles. But let me tell you what
Right.
one thing that you are getting at, actually. If we go back in time, so this is like in 2016, okay? But if we go back in time, then there are many more white people at this end. The number of black people, right? This is take black people and Hispanic people. The numbers are much higher going back in time than they are today. So black people and Hispanic people have actually made some progress in this way. In this group down here, right? This group of five, all these families, they're disproportionately Black and Hispanic and Native American. What do you tell yourself?
I was in that position before, with my family. I never had it like that. Wasn't offered with the best choices or the best, how you say, wasn't given the best opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yep.
So I would say just not presented with the best options to.
And so then what happens is you then see people acting according to the options that are available to them.
Sure.
Which is, okay, that's sociology, man. That's basic sociology. So if we go back to your family, I'm going to, they're operating on the available options in front of them. So it's like, okay, well, you just do what you do. Just like in here, so many people in here, when you all think about your futures and your college degrees and what you're going to do and so on, you're just looking at the options that are likely for you. But here, let me show you something. Down here, I'll stand up a second real fast, just so I can. These families right here, they got options too. You all got a lot of options that you're thinking about, especially if you take he's the 12, almost 13 million. Now come up here to the richest of the rich. You got options. Like one, for example, is you're not going to be a school teacher, right? There are all sorts of things. You're not going to be a college professor. You're just not going to be that. I mean, there are options available, but this is very different options. Options, thanks, bro. Options that people down here, dude, there are things, people at that end who, when that are at certain schools and studying finance and stuff, what's your major? Rehabilitation services? Dude, there is not a single person, maybe of all the kids going to college from this group down here, maybe there's one that is majoring in rehabilitation services. Maybe there's one, okay? Maybe someone on the stream can have that person reach out to me because I'm really curious. Maybe there's one. These differences here, who's responsible for this racial inequality? What's your gut feeling?
The rich people, the richest of the rich.
Yeah, but aren't people themselves also responsible? Dude, that's a sociological argument, by the way. Corn wouldn't make that, because that would not be an argument for young Americans for freedom, by the way. Like, don't make that argument when you...
Fair enough.
Do people also have some responsibility?
Yeah.
Question is how much?
Yeah.
That's what we're fighting over here. Okay, here. Let me show you. No, hang on. Let me show you what this looks like. So here, take a look at this, man. Median family wealth. So this means half of all the white families in the United States, half of them. So this is wealth, right? So we're adding up all of people's assets and we're subtracting their debt. Okay, this is not about income. This is assets. This is income that you've saved or income that you've invested or income that you've turned into property or something. But this is all of your assets minus your debt. If we take all the white families in the United States, half of them have more than $184,000 in wealth. And half of them have less than $184,000 in wealth, okay? Then look at Hispanic, look at Black, Asian, American Indian. Look at American Indian, man. Half of all American Indian families have less than $5,500 in wealth. That's not even a 1989 Toyota Corolla. How do you explain that?
Like Native Americans, right?
Yeah, but
I mean, I look at where they're at. Most of them living on the reservations, and there's
half live on reservations. So
yeah,
yep, go ahead.
And they're not the, I wouldn't say the majority. You know, it's majority, I believe, a white country. So that's also why that number is high with white individuals. But I would say, as far as the Native Americans, it's not the majority, and being most of them are on reservations. So